So, aber ich würde sagen, wir nutzen jetzt noch ganz kurz die letzte Minute. Meine Damen und Herren, herzlich willkommen zur Weiterung von Path of Exile 2. Heute kommt Druide, Endgame, neue Trials und noch viel, viel mehr. In einer Woche geht's los. Am 12.12. startet dann Path of Exile in den 04er Patch rein mit dem Druiden als neue Klasse und den ganzen Überraschungen, welche wir jetzt dann auch gleich sehen werden. Also sehen werden in dem Sinn, wir haben uns jetzt hier, wir kriegen die Patch Notes. Ich hoffe, es ist Jonathan da. Ich hoffe, wir kriegen einen richtig, richtig geilen Trailer. Ja, mal schauen, was der Druide kann. Ich glaube, man kann auch sich mit dem Druiden in einen Wolf verwandeln. Ja, das heißt also, da macht das ganze Geheule der Community auch wirklich Sinn. Und mit diesem guten Wortwitz und knapp 10 Sekunden vor Go starten wir rein. Ich habe das Geheule, den Joke heute schon 3-mal gebracht, aber es ist der beste Witz des Jahres und deswegen muss ich leider im PoE 2 einen Druiden spielen. So, ich halte jetzt die Schnauze und wir legen los.
Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile 2, and welcome to GGG Live. Today we're going to show you an exclusive reveal for what's
Nein!
coming next for Path of Exile 2.
Ah, geht schon.
Twitch drops are enabled on today's live stream, so you'll be able to claim your Verdant Wilds dodge roll effect by following the instructions below. Now today, it's finally time to show off a new class that we know everyone in the community's been waiting for. So let's roll the trailer for Path of Exile 2, The Last of the Druids.
Well, well. What have we got here then?
You lost, fella?
Hey, we're talking to you.
I asked you a question.
Da ist der Wolf.
What's
Es wird
wrong
ja
with him?
bärenstark.
Ah, he's lost his bloody mind.
Oh, der Bärwolf. Was geht denn ab, Mann? Du kannst ja als Drache spielen. Erinnert mich an WoW. Da geht er dahin. Jetzt wäre eigentlich ein guter Zeitpunkt für eine kleine Werbung, oder? Ja, Freunde, und bevor wir loslegen, würde ich nochmal sagen, Holy Xmas. Es ist soweit, kurz vor Weihnachten gibt es natürlich nochmal ein paar wunderbare Angebote und Geschenke wieder von Holy. Danke, dass ihr auch dieses Video ermöglicht habt und wir beginnen gleich mit einem der wohl für die meisten wichtigsten Sachen. Es gibt einen neuen Milkshake, ja. Die Milkshakes, die waren sowieso immer ausverkauft, aber es gibt jetzt Spekulatius. Kennt ihr vielleicht vom Geschmack her, solltet ihr auf jeden Fall mal als Milkshake versuchen. Es gibt auch für alle, die jetzt nicht ewig lang rumsuchen möchten, ich habe es ja mal eingeblendet, so eine Holy Geschenksbox und so weiter. Das könnt ihr gleich weiterschenken, besorgen, ist ein super Deal mit dem Code Jessie nochmal 10% on top. Dann habt ihr auch was für eure Lieben zu Weihnachten, neben natürlich den Holy Weihnachtskalender. Es kommen auch ein paar alte Sorten zurück, unter anderem auch der Winterbunsch Hibiskus Eistee. Also ich als Eistee-Fan, den werden wir uns natürlich hinstellen, damit wir auch beim Event super versorgt sind. Checkt das mal aus, der Link ist unterhalb. Nicht vergessen, Jess ist der Code, der geht immer. Gibt noch ein paar andere Überraschungen, wie zum Beispiel so ein Thermoshaker. Also da ist alles dabei. Viel Glück und jetzt würde ich mal sagen, zurück zum Video. Clip.
Now, as you can see,
So,
the
los
Druid
geht's.
is a shape-shifting elemental spellcaster. After his fellow druids were destroyed by the king in the mists, the druid lost his humanity in the forests of Ogham, where he wandered for years as a beast. Now, finally reawakened, he's determined to find his lost wife and regain his humanity. The druid has been one of the hardest classes for us to design. As well as having human spells, he has 3 animal forms, and we wanted to make sure that there were interesting combos between all of them. The druid is our first hybrid strength and intelligence class. That means he needs to have the ability to use spells and attacks. As a human, the druid typically uses magical staves to harness the powers of the earth and the natural world. One of the first skills you will learn is the ability to create small volcanoes from the earth. This skill spits out balls of magma at your enemies, and will continue to do so for some time. While the volcano is active, turn into an animal and wade into melee range.
Das Allerbeste, was ich damals schon gespielt habe. Ich habe den Druiden ja schon gespielt. Und diese Kombination, dass du Spells hast und währenddessen beim Aufstampfen diese Spells triggern kannst, das ist 10 von 10. Das ist so geil zum Spielen.
Animal Talismans.
Und es gibt eine neue Waffengattung.
Talisman, you can choose which animal form you would like the talisman to represent. Depending on what you choose, you'll be given that animal's basic attack as a new skill to equip. For a bear, that's Maul. To turn into a bear, simply use the skill. Your character will instantly transform into a bear and attack. If you want to change back to a human, just cast a spell. You will instantly swap back and cast it. We wanted to make sure that swapping between forms was seamless and immediate. Changing forms should be something that you do without even thinking about it all the time in battle. In order to allow for hybrid melee and caster gameplay, most of the skills you use in your human form last for some time and aid your animal skills in some way. The volcano we used earlier will emit more molten balls whenever you hit it with a slam, making it perfect for use with your bear form's furious slam.
Sieht echt nice aus.
While in bear form, many of your abilities use rage. There are a lot of ways to generate rage, but the easiest one is simply smash your enemies with Maul. Once you see the runes on your back glowing, it means you have enough rage to do a much more devastating version of your furious slam. Your bear form can also go on a rampage, stomping the ground as you demolish your foes. The more rage you have, the longer the rampage lasts, and doing it over a volcano makes it even better.
Das ist halt nice. Genau diese Kombi. Aber ich weiß nicht, ob das farmtechnisch,
As you
es kommt
consume
mir
rage, your
langsam
bear form will
vor.
generate endurance charges, and these can be used with skills like Ferocious Roar.
PoE kommt am
Ferocious Roar is a
12.12.
war cry that empowers your subsequent attacks to break your
Alter,
opponent's
dieser
armor.
blöde Hai,
The
ne?
more endurance charges you have when you use it, the more empowered attacks you will gain. But Ferocious Roar has another special feature too. It's a meta gem that allows you to socket any Warcry gem from another class into it, giving you the ability to use these skills as a bear. Use the Warrior's Infernal Cry skill to make your enemies explode.
Die Kombinationen
Or
sind
use
das
Seismic Cry to
Spannende.
stun your enemies and double up the number of slams you do.
Ich glaube, der Bär holt mich nicht ab. Kann ich mal einen Plus haben für jeden, der vom Bären
You can
abgeholt
even
wird?
use it with Ancestral Call, a skill that turns you into the fire god Khal. Ever wondered what the Karui god
okay,
of
das
war
ist
would look
nice.
like if he was a bear? Well, wait no longer.
Das scheint mir der Burner zu sein.
Finally,
Aber-
build up enough rage and you can use one of the bear's ultimate abilities, Walking Calamity. This skill summons a storm of fire around you for some time, while generating even more rage to power your other abilities. A true bear
Das ist der
apocalypse.
Shit. Also
Now the
farmtechnisch.
bear is known for being a slower and more lumbering animal, with slower attacks and heavy slams. But what if you want to turn into something a little more nimble? Well, let's check out the second animal form for the druid, wolf form.
Oh,
For
da
the wolf
sehe ich
form, we
mich.
wanted to go fast and furious. Even just the wolf's basic attack will leap forward and rake his foes. After attacking, the wolf stands up on 2 legs, but after running for a short time, he goes back on all 4s, allowing to move more quickly between packs of enemies. The wolf has a lot of cold attacks based on his association with the moon, and the first of these is Lunar Assault. It's great for freezing your enemies in place. After they're frozen, use your basic rake attack to knock shards of ice off your enemies, which land on the ground nearby and explode. If you want to get into battle quickly, you can use your pounce attack. This skill leaps at a target and applies a mark
Das
to
sieht
them.
gut aus, oder?
Killing the marked enemy will summon a wolfman into your side, allowing them to fight with you. Mark and kill as many enemies as you can to build up a sizable pack. While an enemy is marked, your wolves will prioritize that target and do more damage the more wolves you have, so make sure you keep your pack strong. Now, one problem you might run into is your wolf pack dying in boss fights. You often don't have any enemies that you can mark and kill in order to regenerate your pack. To deal with this problem, you can use Cross Slash. Cross Slash jumps backwards and does a vicious double slash. Any marks on your target explode and triggers their abilities. This allows you to pounce to mark an enemy and then summon a wolf even without killing it.
Ah, okay,
Cross Slash also has another feature though.
Gut, dass da
Remember those
mitgedacht
ice fragments from
wurde.
before? Well, Cross Slash will propel any ice shards on the ground towards its central target. First, freeze your enemies with Lunar Assault. Then rake them to create as many ice fragments as you can. Then follow up with Cross Slash to generate a field of icy explosions to obliterate your enemies.
Dauert aber trotzdem relativ lange.
If they're still alive after that, your pack of wolves can finish them off.
Ist mir auch zu langsam. Ja, mal schauen, ist ja ein Showcase, ja.
Just like with the bear's raw skill earlier that allows you to use skills from other classes, Pounce is also a metagem that you can socket mark skills from other classes into. So for example, you might want to try adding Freezing Mark from the Monk to Pounce. After pouncing at an enemy, Cross Slash to explode the mark and gain extra cold damage for a time. The wolf has many other ways to go all in on cold though. Using the Arctic Howl Warcry will allow you to add cold damage and chilled ground to any slam, while buffing your pack of wolves as well. You can also use it to freeze enemies that are close to being frozen, making it much faster to use your other combos. Finally, the wolf also has the ability to call down the power of the moon to transform into an Arctic werewolf with Lunar Blessing. In this form, you move and attack more quickly and deal extra cold damage. Consuming Rage will extend the duration of your Arctic wolf form, so you could try a hybrid bear and wolf build if you want to utilize the skill to its full effect.
Eis ist nicht cool
Alright,
genug.
let's
Jetzt
talk
möchte
about
ich
the
was
third
sehen.
form available
Jetzt
to the
kommt
Druid, and I think it's a cool one. The Wyvern. The Wyvern has a number of long-range breath abilities.
Yo.
But that doesn't mean you can't get into melee range when you want to. The basic attack of the Wyvern is Rend. Jump forward into combat and slash your enemies with your lethal talons.
Ah, die werden alle Drache
If they're
spielen.
close to being stunned, you can blow them off balance with a blast from your wings, causing an explosion of damage. After the battle though, it's time to feed. Devour the corpses of monsters to create power charges, and this is when the Wyvern's abilities really come online. When using Rend, you can consume a power charge to charge up your wings with lightning.
Wyvern nicht
Not only does this do a
Es
bunch
ist
of
ein
damage,
Drache.
but it allows you to turn this melee skill into a much larger AoE attack. Once your wings are charged, your wing blast will also do lightning explosions for even more damage.
Da leuchtet er
If your
schon
enemies
blau.
are close to death, no need to wait for them to actually die. When you see this blue marker, just devour them alive. Fresh meat is much tastier after all. Alright, so those are some melee options, but how about range? Well, you wouldn't be much of a dragon if you couldn't breathe fire after
Da,
all.
hast du gesehen? Ist ein
Rolling
Drache.
Magma is the first of the Wyvern's breath attacks.
Oh, nice.
Spit balls of fire that bounce along the ground. These balls will trigger volcanoes as well, so it's a good idea to cast one as a human right before you start spitting.
Jetzt sind wir am Start.
But that's not all you can spit. You have something a little nastier in that gullet of yours.
Das ist auch mega für
Spitting a
Konsolenspieler.
barrage of oil at your enemies will cover them in a viscous sludge that makes them easier to ignite. If you have power charges though, plant your wings in the ground and vomit a barrage of lightning-infused projectiles. The more power charges you have, the longer you can do this for. But make sure you keep your foes at range. You're vulnerable to melee attacks while channeling this skill. In order to help with that, let's take a quick diversion back to some of your human abilities. As a Druid of Scoth, you have the ability to harness the power of nature to create entangling vines to slow down your enemies. Another of nature's punishments is the thunderstorm. Creating one of these will create periodic strikes of lightning from the sky, and will also make your enemies wet. Why is that useful? Well, of course, things that are wet are easier to shock. Use it with lightning damage from your Wyvern form to enhance your damage. Making things wet also makes them easier to freeze, so it works nicely with your wolf form as well. And you know what else likes water? Plants. Water your plants to give them various extra
Das ist
abilities.
halt einfach
Use lightning
spieltechnisch
storm
und
with
ganz
Entangle to
deep.
make them last longer
Mega krass.
and attach more vines to each enemy, slowing them further. Summon thrashing vines to slam at your enemies for a time. Any that are created in water will be larger and deal more damage. Now then, with our enemies sufficiently subdued with our plants, time to really lay into them with our lightning-infused barrage.
Ich finde halt diese Lightning-Attacke ist das absolut geilste, das brauche ich.
This last Wyvern ability is just ridiculous, but we felt like we had to do it. Use Flame Breath to take to the skies and rain down a stream of fire on your enemies. You have wings, so we have to take full advantage of them after all. So fly around and burn in it.
Ja, ist ja gar nicht OP hier. Das ist ja gar nicht OP. Was soll denn das? Junge, Junge, Junge. Der hat einfach das Feld mit verbrannt.
Now there are a few other skills we didn't cover, but there's one in particular that I think will open up a lot of builds. Spell Totems. Spell Totems are meta gems that let you create a totem that will automatically cast any spell in the game for a time. In order to create one, you will need to spend 3 endurance or 3 power charges. You could use them to throw fireballs, summon comets, or shower the area in lightning. Really, the options are kind of endless. Your bear form can easily generate endurance charges by consuming rage, and your wyvern form can easily create power charges by eating corpses. So it's pretty easy for the druid to get the charges needed, but they're also available from quite a few other places as well. I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of different spellcaster classes thinking about how best to take advantage of these. Now, of course, along with a new class comes a bunch of new support gems. We've added over 30 new supports throughout the game, but I'll show you a few of the cooler ones here. Fan the Flames can be added to any wind skill to spread fire from one ignited enemy to the other enemies behind them. It's great for the Wyvern's Wing Blast, but you can also use it on many other classes with wind skills, like the Twisters on the Huntress, or the Monk's Staggering Palm Projectiles.
Da geht's halt
Accelerated
ab,
growth causes extra explosive plants to erupt from the ground whenever you grow plants with rain.
Okay.
And Advancing Storm changes storm skills like your Thunderstorm or Tornado to move across the battlefield. It's great for watering plants en masse, or to turn tornadoes into a real disaster by sucking up multiple ground effects as they travel along.
Jo, der nimmt alles mit,
And the
ist ein
Sorceress might like to use it
Feuertornado.
with Firestorm as well.
Alter, das sieht ja kaum
Echoing
übertrieben
Cry
aus.
causes your Warcry skills to echo. They will repeat a couple more times with a delay after you use them, giving you more empowered attacks. Use it for the Druid's animal form Warcries, or on the Warrior for a nice power boost. Grounding Shocks causes monsters you shock to turn into living Tesla coils, arcing lightning to nearby enemies. You could use it with your empowered wings for an extra damage boost, but it's also great with any other shocking skill. Try it out with Lightning Spear. It obviously needed more AoE clear. There's a whole pile more, but we'll leave those for you to discover.
Ja, das muss ich halt leider
Now, the new
sagen.
class comes new Ascendancy
Das
classes.
ist halt geil.
The Druid will have 2 options for now,
Also-
with the third being released later. The first class is the Shaman.
Das ist halt
The
wirklich
Shaman
geil.
channels nature's elemental fury and can harness rage as a spellcaster, unifying his animalistic and magical tendencies. By allocating Druidic Champion, you gain spell damage the angrier you are. And with Furious Wellspring, you generate rage continuously and can spend it to empower your spells. With the knowledge of the Asmerian Magi, the Shaman can harness untapped power from runes and idols. After allocating Wisdom of the Magi, you will notice that all runes and idols have extra mods only available to the Shaman. These new mods unlock countless new possibilities for enhancing your build. You can also allocate Bringer of the Apocalypse, allowing you to become a walking natural disaster. After dealing enough elemental damage, storms of all elements rain around you, destroying all who would face nature's fury. There are other abilities for the Shaman, but I'll just show a few from each class for now. The other Druid Ascendancy is the Oracle. The Oracle perfected the power of foresight and utilizes this in combat to gain massive advantage. When taking Fateful Vision, you will see visions of your future self using specific skills. If you
Alter.
decide to follow this path by using the skill yourself, it will do significantly more damage.
Moment, ich sehe den Skill, den ich dann nehme und mache mehr Damage.
And with Converging Paths, at a critical moment in battle when a monster is vulnerable to freeze, stun, or electrocution, the Oracle can use Moment of Vulnerability to see a vision of the enemy's future and then merge it with the current timeline, allowing him to deal damage to both. And one of my favorites, when you first become an Oracle, you'll notice over 130 new extra passives appear in the Druid section of the tree.
Alter,
By
was?
allocating the Unseen Path, you use your power of foresight to learn from alternate futures
Neue
and gain skills that would
Skillpunkte?
otherwise be unavailable to you. For example, Self-sacrificing allows you to be able to summon more minions by reducing the spirit costs, with the trade-off of making your reservation skills cost more spirit. Or Corruption Endures, which allows oracles to have a small chance to avoid death.
Freischalten, alter heilige
Both the Druid
Scheiße.
ascendancies offer interesting and unique ways to gain modifiers that no other classes can get, so we're expecting a huge variety of build possibilities from these. Now there are unique talismans for the Druid to use as well. We won't spoil all of them, but this one was particularly cool. Fury of the King turns your bear form into a fire demon, converting most of your damage to fire. As a demon, you can also use Molten Crash, a jumping slam attack that leaves fissures around you. This unique also continuously grants glory, allowing you to use your ultimate abilities more easily. Now of course the Druid isn't the only thing we're adding to 040. We still have a bunch more to show. With every new release, we create a new league, with new mechanics, new Pinnacle bosses, and with a new story to tell. And this time is no exception. So let's roll the
So,
trailer
wann wird
for
jetzt
the
hier mal
fate of the
abgeliefert?
Vaal.
Das ist jetzt die Sieg-Mechanik, ne?
Queen Atziri. It is a ruin, but in the dark, machines still churn.
Oh nein, es dreht. Kann ich mal einen Plus haben für alle, die richtig hyped sind? Also jetzt möchte ich von jedem einen Plus haben, das hypt schon. Würde ich mal sagen, oder? Das hypt definitiv.
And with it, a chance to save the Vaal.
Alter, was muss ich da
A
machen?
gateway through time. Travel into the past, again and again. Alter the temple, uncover its secrets. You will be rewarded for your sacrifice. And somewhere in the deepest chamber, my queen awaits. I beg of you, hear me. The beast cannot give you what you desire.
You may have studied it, Doriani, but you do not know it like I do. It adores me.
Vom Zuschauen alleine schon überfordert.
Come now, give unto me your desire. At last, fulfill my soul.
Kannst du selbst deine Pyramide bauen.
I'm Mark Roberts,
der Mark.
Game Director on Path of Exile. In the Fate of the Vaal League, you will find remnants of the ancient Vaal civilization scattered throughout Rayclast. They seem to attract nearby creatures and affect them strangely. After killing them, the remnant appears to gain some amount of power, but not enough to fully activate it. It seems you will need to find 5 more of these arcane devices, and sacrifice the monsters you find there to fully activate one. But things don't always go to plan. These devices are old, and sometimes infected by corruption. Twisted versions of ancient Vaal may emerge, and sometimes even stronger foes. On fully activating one of the devices, you finally discover its true purpose. A portal opens and takes you deep underground to a lost temple.
Es ist wieder so eine Mechanik.
Queen of the Vaal.
Das lohnt sich sicher
What
nicht während der
treasures could still be
Levelphase.
inside? I think you're gonna want to find out. In front of the entrance is a console of some kind. And on
jetzt musst du
activating
das selbst
it, you can
bauen.
see a map of the temple.
Junge.
Atziri's personal chambers are on the far side. But how could anyone get there? There are disconnected rooms, and the layout doesn't seem to make sense. And that's when you realize the purpose of the ancient devices scattered through Rayclast. The temple is powered by sacrifice, and this energy can be used to modify the very structure of the temple itself. Each time you run the temple, you will be given 6 rooms that you can place, allowing you to craft your own dungeon to explore. Place paths to link up the dungeon, and place rooms beside them full of precious loot. After you are happy with your choices, open the temple and discover the results of your efforts.
Und dann kannst du durchlaufen.
Each room contains different challenges along with its rewards. On entering a room, the doors will slam shut behind you and you will need to face the encounter within.
Ich
But
finde den
choose
Bären
wisely.
immer noch relativ
It's important where you
langsam.
place the rooms to get maximum returns. For example, when placing a commander, you could just place it anywhere along an existing path, but a much better strategy is to place it next to a garrison of troops for him to command.
Achso, das sind die
With better
Kombinationen.
leadership, the garrison will level up, making the monsters harder, but also more rewarding. Different rooms have different requirements for leveling up.
Langsam aber
For
bärig.
example, if
Kein
you want to
Endgame.
fully level up a smithy, you will need to supply it with golems from an adjacent golem works, and hook up a generator to the power network to supply it with power. After
Die Idee
doing
ist
so,
cool.
the golems will be powered up, making them much more dangerous. You don't need to memorize what interacts with what. When selecting a room, you will be shown the locations that will make other rooms level up, and exactly what effect it will have on the
Ah,
temple.
okay, dann. Das heißt, also es wird eh angezeigt, wo du was hinplatzierst, dadurch bleibt das relativ.
After running the temple, a few of the rooms will destabilize and be removed. It will be up to you to rebuild the temple, adding 6 more rooms each time you come back, making the temple larger and larger.
Ja, aber im
and
Endeffekt
larger.
möchte ich nicht einfach vorne hin zum Boss.
So, that's the basic functionality of the temple. But there is a lot more. Once Doriani finds out about your travels to Vaal, he will attempt to persuade you to take on a new mission. The temple entrance contains a prototype of the time portal device. It will be able to take you back in time, but only to one specific point,
Ah, okay.
right before Itzeri triggered
Der
the
Weg ist das
cataclysm
Ziel.
that destroyed the Vaal.
In dem Fall ist der
He
Tempel
requests
das
that you go
Ziel.
back and attempt to stop Itzeri
Tempel
to
ist das
prevent the
Ziel,
Vaal from
Freunde.
ever being destroyed.
Strong.
Itzeri is on the far side of the temple, so you will need to expand the temple significantly to get to her. And even worse, her chambers can only be unlocked by a room that isn't currently accessible to you.
Da
In
sind die
order to deal with
Schätze.
that, you are going to
Junge.
need to visit the architect of the temple. To get to him, you will need to place path rooms. But while doing so, you will probably want to exploit some of the Vaal technology only available in the past. Once you can travel into the past, a whole new set of rooms are available to
Ja, ich werde den
you, and they
Drachen
have some
spielen.
pretty insane rewards. At level 1, the corruption chamber can be used to corrupt a single item.
Wow, der hat aber jetzt nicht ein Atramentis genommen, oder?
But placing it next to a thaumaturge to run the place, and a sacrificial chamber to provide soul energy, you'll be able to level it up. And it's worth it. Because once you get the room to level 3, there are some very nice rewards to be had. In a level 3 corruption chamber, you will find this mysterious device. It has a slot to place an item, and it only accepts items that are already corrupted.
Au, Double
What will
Corruption.
happen to them?
Gib ihn!
Well, normally once an item is corrupted, you can't modify it any further.
Double Corruption.
But this
Ja,
device allows you
PoE
to
1
corrupt your
halt, ne?
item a second time, adding
Einfach PoE
another
1.
enchantment.
Und dann ist
This
das
has the
Item.
capability to craft some very powerful items indeed.
Oh, das
But
wird
be
alles
warned,
kaputt.
the Vaal are all about taking risks in the pursuit of power. There is a 50% chance that the item will be destroyed.
Moment, hat der 50% gesagt? Alt. 50?
Each room has its own interesting mechanics and rewards when it levels up.
Schade.
Many of them contain bosses to fight, special drops, and in many
50-50,
cases,
easy.
new crafting opportunities. For example, a level 3 alchemy lab has a nasty Vaal construct to fight, but if you can defeat it, you can find new corrupted soul cores. Like Guatalizi's thesis, which on boots allows you to sacrifice your life to run faster.
Jo, das brauche ich,
Or
das brauche
Sita
ich.
Qualotl's thesis, which on gloves will revive one of your minions whenever an offering expires. Get a sacrificial chamber to level 3, and you will
Leben für
need to
Movement
face a
Speed.
highborn priest of sacrifice. Defeat him to be able to further corrupt a Vaal unique, modifying it in unpredictable ways. One of the mods of this unique will be removed, and replaced with another random mod.
Wurde das jetzt durch einen Schredder gedrückt?
For example, this Soul Mantle. It gives you an additional totem, but lowers your totem's life and curses you when they die. By using the machine, this could result in a terrible item if you remove the good mod, but also some amazing items if you replace the downside.
Nice.
Now, one extra thing to mention about these Vaal crafting machines. You don't have to take the items you want to craft into the temple. If you don't have the item you want to craft with you at the time, then clicking this button will allow you to create a currency item instead, allowing you to do the craft later or trade it if you want.
Ah, das ist cool.
Now, there are all sorts of interesting rooms you can find in the temple, but the last one I want to show you today is the Flesh Surgeon. A Vaal Flesh Surgeon can be leveled up by placing him next to a high-level synth flesh lab. But
Level
be
3.
careful. The Flesh Surgeon has some rather unpleasant experiments in his personal lab.
Frankenstein.
Afterwards, you might notice the surgery table just sitting there.
Vielleicht kannst du dann den Paladin wiederbeleben.
Why not do some crafting on yourself?
Yo.
After laying down, you'll be asked which limb you'd like to replace. Left arm, perhaps your right leg. Each limb can get a different set of random bonuses, so choose wisely. After getting up from the table, try out your new limb. It seems to work fine, and even perform better than your normal one. Now, there is just one thing with replacing body parts. If you die and are resurrected, your body will return to its natural state.
Wow,
You
wenn
might
ich
need to
sterbe,
return to
ist
the
es
Vaal
weg.
Surgeons if you want another robot arm, and maybe get a better one next time. Some rooms, like the Commander, can give you a new type of reward. Medallions that can be used to manipulate the
Echt
temple in
Weltbank,
other ways. Using a Latle's medallion will allow you to artificially boost a room, even if it doesn't meet the normal requirements to level up. And a Huatalotli's medallion will stop rooms from destabilizing when you complete a temple, allowing you to guarantee getting a reward a second time. Great if you want to stock up on double corrupts. Now, with all that aside, time to face the Architect, and
Jetzt
you
bin
will
ich
be
mal
in for a
gespannt.
fight. Once defeated, you will find another console that can be used to modify the temple. But this one is special. It allows you to place new types of rooms with specific rewards. There are rooms with specific uniques,
Tu die doch
special
zusammen.
runes, and currency. But also a few other, more niche crafting experiments. Like this one, that can extract the socketables back out of an item, at the cost of destroying it.
Die haben es ein bisschen mit den
something really
Roboter-Sachen.
important is every league we release a significant amount of content for the endgame. In order to make sure that the Fate of the Vaal works well for late-game players, we've added many mechanics to make sure that you can scale the difficulty and rewards to match. Getting some rooms to level 3 adds extra mods to the entire dungeon.
Druid-Gameplay
And
war am
these stack
Anfang,
with each
weil
other.
wir sind jetzt schon eine halbe
So in
Stunde drin.
endgame, when you can get some really big temples, you can generate a challenge that can even match the strongest of characters. We also start to introduce ways to store up energy for the temple,
Da bin ich jetzt echt
allowing
mal
you to save
gespannt.
up many runs so you can do them later at your leisure and not
Das ist
interrupt your
cool.
mapping too often.
Das ist halt wirklich geil,
Now, in
dass du
each league, it's
speicherst und dann
important that we have a
reingehst.
new Pinnacle boss to test your character's might. In the
Oh.
Fate of the Vaal, you will get to face Adzeri while she was at the peak of her power. One of the rewards you will gain by defeating the Architect is the ability to place the Royal Access Chamber. Once connected to your temple, you can visit it to finally reach the Queen of the Vaal herself.
Ja, den Chef. die
This
Chefin.
fight takes place at a critical moment in history, right as Adzeri communes with the beast's power and takes her true corrupted form. Now, we are not going to show you the whole fight, but we will tempt you with one of the rewards. This is Adzeri's rule. This staff gives additional levels to all of your corrupted gems and lets you trade life for extra damage.
Was?
But in addition to that, while using the staff, mirrors of refraction will constantly appear on the battlefield. Any projectile you fire at these will split into a nova, and they can chain from one to the other.
Kaum OP. Mhm.
So,
100
that's the fate
Divine
of the Vaal
Ink.
League. But we are also bringing the previous league, Rise of the Abyssal, into the core game, along with a few changes. Now, for those of you who haven't seen what happens when a league is over, it's important to understand that you will not be seeing abysses in every area anymore. Rise of the Abyssal is now one of the league mechanics that can show up
Das ist halt
randomly
cool
in
übernommen. Weißt du, wie ich meine? Dann hast du
If
es
you want
einfach
to
am
specialize in
Atlas.
running abysses, there is now a tablet that will allow you to add them to any map you run. You can also craft the tablet to add abyss-specific mods to enhance how they function. Now that Abyss is core, it also needs its own Atlas tree.
Bis
You
BoE
can gain your
released wird,
first
gibt es
points by
10
completing an abyss.
Season-Mechaniken. Das Crafting
But there
bleibt
are
auch.
more available for doing depths
Nice.
and killing certain bosses. And there are a bunch of different options.
Ah, ist ein bisschen
You
umfangreicher. Ne?
might just want more monsters and bosses. But you can also make finishing an abyss have a chance to overrun a nearby map with the abyssal. Or make your waystone modifiers also apply to abyssal depths. You could specialize in the interaction with other leagues, or specialize in a specific abyssal faction. One of the important elements that we have heard loud and clear is that needing to do abyss crafting on waystones is quite annoying. So, we have removed that. In fact, we have removed instilling from waystones as well. This mechanic felt mandatory on maps because it boosted the value of all other content, but it was both annoying to do and resulted in a lot of visual clutter. Instead, we are bringing back some of that power on tablets, which you don't need to craft nearly as often, since they last for 10 maps each. Once you defeat the Arbiter of Ash, you will be able to upgrade tablets to a rare with 4 mods using regular currency. Even this isn't enough to fully bring back the power you could have gotten from instilling, so we have also buffed the bonuses that
So,
tablets
dann
give.
brauche ich es nicht die
Going
ganze
forward,
Zeit machen.
we're not going to be adding any more crafting directly to waystones outside of the basic currency, because it adds too much micromanagement.
Ja,
But
Gott sei
on that
Dank.
note, Fate of the Vaal does bring the ability to corrupt your tablets, hoping to get one of many different random outcomes. Now, with regard to Delirium Fog, even though you shouldn't have to have it on every map anymore, we still did want to make it less visually annoying. Delirium Fog has been toned down significantly, so you won't feel like you're just playing in a sea of grey. Another big source of problems in the endgame is the feeling of getting overwhelmed with monsters. In 031, we reduced the number of monsters in early endgame in order to help with this, but still scaled up the number of monsters to previous levels by the time you got to tier 15. Well, after letting this simmer for a while, we are still getting this kind of feedback. So we are no longer going to scale up the number of monsters you go as you get deeper into the endgame. Instead, we are scaling up the difficulty and rewards by the same amount. So to be clear, instead of increasing the number of monsters by 40%, they will instead drop 40% more items, grant 40% more experience, and
Blutfilter.
have 40% more life. In addition to all the normal
Alter, was
scaling they
knallt
get
da
due to being
runter?
higher level. This only applies to regular monsters, not bosses. We have also reduced the speed modifiers that monsters can get sometimes, which also helps a lot with this. Now, we did have a large amount of content for endgame planned for 040, but unfortunately we just didn't get time to finish it. The
Was?
scope was a bit too large, and so we would need to wait until 050 for that. But rest assured, there will be a ton of upgrades for the existing leagues, as well as new Pinnacle bosses, and a
Keine
significant
Endgame-Ding?
overhaul to the Atlas passive tree coming soon.
Da ist die Pille.
Now, another problem that becomes a much bigger issue in the endgame is game performance. And we have done a lot
Das
of work here.
stimmt. Also,
The
ich weiß
primary
nicht, wie es
issue
bei
is
euch war,
CPU load.
aber es ist
And
echt
to address
laggy.
that, a lot of things have been optimized.
Alter, hoffentlich.
And we
Und
have
auf
done a lot of
Konsolen.
work
Ich habe
to take
gehört, dass es auf
advantage
Konsolen
of more of your
extrem schlecht
CPU
läuft.
cores. you should see frame rates of at least 25% higher, and a lot less bad frame spikes during gameplay. It does make quite a big difference, especially on consoles. A lot more work in this area is ongoing, and you will continue to see performance improvements over the next few months. Of course, another important area is game balance, and we have made a lot of changes. Now, most of these we will save for the patch notes, but I'll do a quick summary of some of the numbers. As well as adding 11 new unique items, we have rebalanced dozens of others that are not currently used very often. We've also done a pass over lineage supports. 21 of them have been rebalanced, as well as adding 9 more. Alongside the 2 new Druid ascendancies, we have made balance changes to almost all the others, with some of them getting a grander rebalance, such as the Smith of Katava. Alongside the 20 plus new Druid skills, we've also rebalanced 90 other active skills across all the different classes. And to top it all off, there are also over 250 new passive skills added to the passive tree. These changes should go a long way to increase the viability of many more skills, uniques, and overall build variety that can tackle our most challenging content.
Aber es kommt jetzt kein Endgame, habe ich das richtig?
Next up, we're going to be talking about our new supporter packs. Today, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Precursor and Kalgurin packs.
Was, wir sind jetzt schon bei den Supporter Packs?
Value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Precursor series of supporter packs contains 6...
So, jetzt mal ganz kurz noch zur Zusammenfassung. Also, es kommt am 12.12. der Druide. Der Druide hat 3 Formen. Bär, Wolf und Drache. Aber es ist kein Drache, weil wie geschrieben wurde, ein Drache hat 4 Beine und dann die Flügel. Und das ist ein Wyvern und der hat 2 Beine und die vorderen Flügel gelten auch als Beine. Egal. Also, der Druide in 3 Formen mit ganz unterschiedlichen Skillmethoden, mit eigenen Mechaniken. Check. Die Season-Mechanik ist diese Wahl-Geschichte, wo man eigens den Tempel bauen kann, um dann alles zu looten und Sachen doppelt zu corrupten. Check. Endgame wird nicht umgebaut, weil sie es nicht geschafft haben. Das heißt, der Atlas und Endgame bleibt gleich. Check. Und was ich noch im Leak hatte, das neue Trial. Wo ist das neue Trial? Da fehlt ja noch was. Das hier im Hintergrund könnt ihr kaufen. Das ist $90, $70 und so weiter. Okay. Das mit dem Endgame ist ein bisschen schade. Also, muss man ehrlich sagen, ja. 4 Monate zu warten, hart.
Machine that sits atop ancient colossal statues. It keeps track of the number of charges consumed on your precursor tablets used in the device. The Kalgurin pack series also contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Ich hoffe schon, da kommt jetzt noch was, oder?
The Kalgurins had astounding skill in astronomy.
Also der Atlas bleibt anscheinend.
Events with absolute precision. Harnessing that skill, with the Astronomer's Level Up effect equipped, you too can now see exactly how long it took you to level up.
Kann ich aus fairen Gründen kurz einen WTF in den Chat haben von jedem, ja, damit das im Tracking dann drin ist. Kein Endgame-Anpassung, WTF für PoE, weil bei Diablo gab es gestern auch ein WTF, wo sie gesagt haben, dass die Leaderboards nicht kommen mit Season 11 zum Start, sondern das Ganze ins 2026 geschoben wird. So, 2 Spiele, beide kriegen die Flames, deswegen sind wir hier. Es wird jeder gleich diskriminiert. So, obwohl alles im Allen die Anpassungen absolut gut sind. Vom Endgame her, ja okay, ob der Atlas jetzt hier plus minus geht. Ich bin sehr gespannt, wir werden alle den Druiden spielen. Ich hoffe, dass der Druide eine richtig geile und gut integrierte Klasse ist.
And shields.
Kauft nicht gleich alle Supporter Packs weg.
Retreat to the Kraken's Cove hideout. A home of some of the most deadly, ocean-dwelling creatures in Raidclast. Many ships have met their demise here. What better to accompany you in Kraken's Cove than a kraken itself? Replace your stash with a dormant kraken, waiting for its prey. As you approach, it will awaken and terrify both you and any guests in your hideout.
Ich hoffe, da kommt jetzt noch was.
Alongside this, an extra stash skin item will be granted to you, and when placed, will automatically open to any stash tab set with the currency affinity, to help having to navigate through your tabs. Additionally, any microtransactions from these supporter packs will be made available for use in Path of Exile 1. Thank you very much for all your ongoing support. We're just about to start the Q&A with Ziggy D.
Au.
Afterwards, at 11 a.m. NZ time, we'll post the patch notes.
Okay.
With release at the end of next week, our community team will be posting crucial information you'll need for the release. Keep an eye on the news. Thanks for joining us today and checking out our latest developments. We're looking forward to playing alongside our fellow shapeshifting exiles, or uncovering lost Vaal secrets by doing some dungeon crafting.
Okay.
We'll begin the Q&A shortly, so please get your questions ready.
Okay. Was mich jetzt wundert ist, beim Leak, wo habe ich den hier? Twitch-Drops hatten wir, die Klasse Druide hatten wir, die neue Waffe, diesen Talisman hatten wir, Transformsystem New Trial, Trial of the Ancestor hatten wir nicht, Atlas Reamp hatten wir auch nicht, die Pinnacle-Bosse mit der Zirik Queen of the Vaal hatten wir, die neue Leak-Mechanik mit Fate of the Vaal hatten wir auch, also der Leak war zu 70% richtig. Ja, zu ungefähr 70% richtig. Ich bin ein bisschen verwundert, dass es nicht das Endgame angeht, weil ich dachte mir, 04 wird der große Endgame-Überarbeitungspatch. Also der ist ja natürlich vor Ort, der Bengel. Schauen wir mal. Also wir dürfen mal gespannt sein. Overall würde ich sagen, ja, ist eine Klasse 8 von 10, weil der Druide halt kommt und ich glaube, viele werden mit dem Druiden Spaß haben. Das sieht auf jeden Fall soweit mal ganz gut aus. Also lassen wir uns mal überraschen. Schauen wir mal, vielleicht kommt ja noch die ein oder andere gute Frage. Wie gut ihr es findet, könnt ihr ja gleich hier in die Kommentare schreiben und ob es euch egal ist, dass das Endgame es nicht geschafft hat oder doch. Mal schauen. Ja. Ein bisschen Endgame hätte ich mir schon noch gewünscht. Aber vielleicht ist die League-Mechanik dafür 10 von 10. Wir lassen uns überraschen. Ah ja, oder ihr könnt am 12.12. auch jederzeit Diablo 4 spielen, ne? Weil Diablo 4 kommt 14 Stunden vor Path of Exile. Nur als kleiner Hinweis. Nur als kleiner, feiner Hinweis.